Okay, so welcome to day 3. This is the last day of this week. Next week is week 10, and what we're going to talk about is establishing healthy boundaries. That's next week for week 10. I'm going to teach you about how to do it. But before we get there, let's go ahead and do today. So, today is about releasing guilt and shame. Now, we went over some of this, but I wanted to get into more detail about this. So when I wrote all this down, I wanted to make sure that you clearly understand why you're feeling the guilt and why you're feeling shame, because this is a part of a tactic that the narcissists do. And even though you're not with the narcissist anymore, you still have these feelings and it's lingering. What that is called is a soul tie. And you have to break that. And I can teach you, and I'm going to do that right now. Let's get into it. So, okay. Releasing guilt and shame after leaving a narcissistic relationship is a crucial part of the healing process. These emotions can be deeply ingrained due to the manipulative tactics often used by the narcissist. Here's a strategy. Here are some strategies that can help you release guilt and shame to promote healthy emotions in your recovery. Number 1, understanding and validating your emotions. You have to understand it, and you have to understand that your emotions are real. Okay? You're not feeling these things and it's like false. No, it's real. So first you want to recognize, my bad. First you want to acknowledge your feelings. Acknowledge them. They're there. You feel it for a reason. So acknowledge your feelings by recognizing that feeling of guilt and shame, they're common among survivors of narcissistic relationship. You're not alone. This happens. I know I felt it. I did. What I really felt when I was feeling was when I released the video of the narcissist of my ex-husband when he was hitting me. I was questioning, was I helping my situation or making it worse? Because no one ever saw me like that before. My best friend, when she saw it, she was hurt because she said it was painful to watch. And then his cousin, he was angry. And matter of fact, his cousin was the one who helped me through it, because he was the one who was reassuring me that I wasn't wrong and that I was making the right decision. He was also helping me to leave him. Like, he was basically saying that marriage is over. And he was the one who actually counseled me and my current husband right now today. He counseled us because my husband now, we have had gotten premarital counseling before we got married, because I needed, actually he was the one who suggested it, and plus I wanted it. But see, my ex-husband, the narcissist, that's his cousin. And he's an elder, he's a pastor, he's also an elder. And he was the one that said, look, I know that divorce is frowned upon, but this is not a marriage. What he's doing to you is not a marriage. And he was like, I'm going to definitely reassure him that we all know, because he was hiding the whole time, pretending to be a God-fearing man when he was a monster. And his cousin was like, I'm going to let him know. I know the true identity of you now. And you're abuser. You're an abuser. That's what you are. And you can't hide no more behind God, because you have been exposed. And so definitely understand you're not alone, okay? So understand that these emotions are a result of the abuse and manipulation you experience. There's not a reflection of you and your worth or your action. So what you're feeling is not a reflection of you, and it's not a reflection of any type of actions on your part, and it's definitely not your worth, because your worth is way more worthy, okay? So you definitely want to have self-compassion. Let's talk about that. Practice self-compassion by treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend in a similar situation. Mm. I had to reflect back on some things. I had a friend who went through the same thing I went through, but a little bit more than what I went through. Her situation was worse. Her situation involved her child, who was not the narcissist kid, but she did end up getting pregnant by the narcissist. And during the time while she was pregnant carrying that narcissist baby, she had a baby with someone previously before him, in a relationship before him. That baby was turning 1 year old. I don't want to give the whole story because she's to this day still have feelings about that, even though that child has grown up now and is married and have 2 kids of his own. But during the time of that situation, I had to reflect back when I was there with her, trying to talk her out of that relationship, and I didn't know how because I was young. We was both, what, she was 18. She's 6 months older than me, so to let you know, we was the same age. And I'm sitting here trying to tell her, you don't need to be in this relationship with this guy. And we knew this guy because we went to school, high school with him and middle school with him. And I'm like, come on, you can do better. And he did some horrific things to not only her, but to her child too. And of course, he got locked up for it. But I had to start thinking back on how was I with her during that time. I had compassion for her and I had compassion for her child. So I had to learn to have that same compassion for myself. And that's what you have to do. Have compassion for yourself. So acknowledge your effort and courage in leaving the abusive relationship. Acknowledge it. You left it. You're no longer in it. So acknowledge it, okay? You have done the most bravest thing that any person in an abusive relationship could ever do. You left. So don't go back. Please don't go back. And don't get into one that's similar to it, all right? So let's talk about your cognitive reconstructing. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about your mind, all right? So I'm still kind of have this headache lingering a little bit, but it's not as much. But on my left side of my temple, I can still feel it. That's why you're probably seeing me rub my head. That's what I'm doing. So let's continue. So anyways, you want to challenge negative thoughts. Identify and challenge negative thoughts that contribute to feelings of guilt and shame. Challenge it. Why is it there in the first place? You start thinking like, I'm not worthy. Ask yourself, what makes you not worthy? What is it about you that makes you not worthy? Come on now. Yes, you are worthy. So whatever you're thinking that is negative, tell it to go away. Remember, I said to use the word stop. Whenever negative thoughts start roaming through your mind, just say, stop. And it will stop. And then counteract it with positive words of affirmation. All right? So ask yourself if these thoughts, these negative thoughts, are based on facts or distorted by the narcissistic manipulation. Was it something that the narcissist said to you and you're thinking those thoughts all over again? All right? So ask yourself those questions, how you can change the way you feel and know that those are not your words and that's not true. Anything the narcissist said to you is a lie. Always remember that. They're talking about themselves. Narcissistic people, what they do is deflect. They deflect what they're actually feeling inside of them about themselves and push it out on you and to other people because they feel like they're worthless. So they would tell you that you're worthless when it's actually them telling themselves that they're worthless. And they're just saying it in a way to where it seems like they're talking to you, but they're literally talking to themselves. All right? So think about that. And you want to reframe your experiences. So Reframe your experiences by recognizing your strengths and the positive steps you have taken to protect yourself. You are stronger than you even know it because you are doing the work. All right. So focus on your resilience, and resilience means to bounce back. All right. So focus on your resilience and abilities to survive a challenging situation. So focus on that instead. You want to continue to seek professional help, therapists. You definitely want to continue to do that. You want to continue your support group. You want to continue to do that. And you want to continue your self-healing, your self-care, and your healing practice with your mindfulness meditation as well as physical activity. So anything that you enjoy, make sure you continue to do that. And exercise can help you to reduce stress. Definitely exercise. Start by just taking a walk. If you take a walk somewhere, take it in a public place where there's lots and lots of people, and make sure it's away from where the narcissists know you hang out at. Do not be in the same place that you would be if you was in a relationship with that narcissist. Stay away from that. And what exercise also do, it helps you to boost your self-esteem. So definitely get your workout in. And you want to rebuild your identity. We already talked about rebuilding your identity. So definitely continue to focus on your good habits and hobbies. Anything that interests you, and then try something new, all right? And you want to make sure that you definitely continue your personal goals. Your goals is important. It helps you to continue to move on with your life and to rebuild who you are. Practice self-forgiveness. Let's talk a little bit more about self-forgiveness, all right? Acknowledge your past mistakes. You made them. We all make mistakes. There's nothing about you that no one else have probably done. There's nothing new under the sun. What you have done have already been done before, all right? So that's why you got to let go of the guilt and the shame, because you haven't done anything that haven't happened before. I'm pretty sure everything that you've done, I've done it. I'm pretty sure you probably say to yourself, man, I've done that too, or that happened to me too. Well, that lets you know right there. What you have done, it have already been done. So acknowledge that you are human. That's what you are. We are all flawed in our own way. So you made mistakes. That's what happened. That's fine. But it doesn't define your worth. It doesn't define who you are. So definitely acknowledge the fact that you're human. And to recognize that you did the best that you could under the circumstances that you was under. You was limited with some of the things that you can do. So it happened. Understand that, okay? You actually did even better because you're still here to this day and you survived it, okay? So definitely forgive yourself. Write another letter to yourself if you need to. Hey, and this letter that you choose to write in there that you forgive yourself even more so. Write in there that you have made more mistakes than you ever thought you would, but yet you are human and you're compassionate about learning from those mistakes. So definitely understand that you have grown. You're different now. You're not the same person anymore. And then read it out loud. Definitely reinforce yourself of the commitment that you have made to forgive yourself. And then burn it. Don't forget to burn it. All right? And if you don't want to burn it, hold on to it and then read it again. That letter you can read again, because then that way you can remember that you are forgiving yourself, and you continue to read it until you have really forgiven yourself and you know that you're past the guilt and you're past the shame. Now let's talk about limiting contact and setting boundaries. Remember, next week we're going to talk about setting boundaries because that is very important. So, no contact versus limiting contact. I hate the fact that you will have to still be in contact with the narcissist, but if you have kids involved, you definitely have to be in contact. If you have a business and you haven't sold your half of the business or you're part of the business and you want to keep that, you still got to be in contact with the narcissist. It's what it is. So, if it's possible, maintain no contact with the narcissist to prevent further manipulation and emotional harm. But you have to make sure that if no contact is possible because of the children and co-parenting and all that. You want to establish strict boundaries and keep interaction at a minimum as possible, as low as possible. So we will get deeper into the boundary situation, and I will teach you how to do that as well. I mean, I'm fortunate that I didn't have any children with him, but I do still understand how that can happen and how that goes, because just say if he was to have adopted my son, and I was fighting against that. That's what really made me divorce him too. I didn't want him adopting my nephew and have a reason to try to use my nephew against me and my family. So I didn't give him that power. I was really strict about that because they was talking about adopting, and I was like, that's what made me say I just wanted to be a guardianship to my nephew. But then when they kept threatening to take him from the home, saying that we're going to have him adopted out by another family, I was like, okay. And they said, well, these are your options. Your option is that you divorce your husband and then you adopt him by yourself, or it's just what it is. And I was like, no, I ain't letting him adopt. Not happening. So that was another way I was able to take full advantage of leaving him. So assertive communication, let's talk about that. Remember, I told you I was going to talk about how I was going to teach you how to be assertive. Well, we'll talk more about assertive as well, but I'm going to share a little bit with you. You want to practice assertive communication to reinforce your boundaries and practice your emotional well-being. You keep that at the forefront. Your emotional well-being is your number one, all right? It's not about the narcissist anymore. It should never have been, but it's not. Be clear, be direct, and be consistent in reinforcing your limits. Definitely stay on top of that. Continue to educate yourself about narcissist abuse. It will help you to remember and not forget that you was in one, so you won't repeat it. So acknowledge, you want to be knowledgeable, and what it does, it empowers you. So continue to educate yourself about the abuse and the effects that it have on you, that it have had on you, because now you're getting rid of the effects, but you want to remember that they was there, because that's what's wrong with a lot of people. We forget and we end up repeating. That's why you don't want to forget, so you won't repeat. And so you can spot it on in the future, and you can probably help someone else as well. So understanding the dynamics of narcissistic relationship can help you see the abuse more clearly and reduce self-blame. You want to read survival stories. If you read my book, and I want you to finish reading this book, all right? The narcissist, the black one, the one that says Breaking the Spell, the ultimate escape plan from narcissistic entanglements. Now, my other book, it should be here tomorrow, because I finished writing it and I published it already, but I'm waiting for my copy to show up, and I will show you that book tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's my husband's birthday, so I might not have time tomorrow, but either way it go, I will still show you it at some point, and you will get an opportunity to see that book, and that's Discourse, the book of Discourse that you're listening to. For those of you on the podcast, if you feel the need that you want to get the book, then you will have to have, it's 3 books actually. The first book is the one that you're listening to right now. That's the one I'm going over with the lesson. And that is called Breaking the Spell, the Ultimate Escape Plan from Narcissistic Relationships. And then you would need the book to do the course, the lessons with, which would be Breaking the Spell, the Ultimate Escape Plan from Narcissistic Entanglements. That has my life story in it. I talk about the very first time that I dealt with my innocence getting taken from me. I was raped when I was 13. I go into details about relationships with ex-boyfriends as well as ex-husband and my mother, and how to deal with narcissistic parenting if you have a parent that's a narcissist, how to deal with that. I talk about that in that book. So that narcissistic entanglement book is the one for you as well. So read those type of books, okay? And also the 365 days of affirmation, your daily affirmation guide. That is to help you to change your negative thoughts about yourself to positive thoughts, okay? So continue to read books, articles, and blogs on other survivors of narcissistic abuse. How did they survive? Learn their stories, because it will help you see yourself and see a pattern in their stories. And it also will help you to reframe from blaming yourself. All right. So, releasing guilt and shame after leaving a narcissistic relationship is a gradual process that requires patience, self compassion, and support. By acknowledging your feelings, challenging negative thoughts, seeking professional help, and engaging in self care, you can begin to heal and reclaim your sense of self worth and identity. Remember, your journey to recovery is unique, and taking small steps each day can lead to a profound healing and transformation. That does end week 9, my bad, day 3, week 9. So continue to do the assignments for this week. So before you get started with week 10, make sure you have completed all the assignments from all the previous weeks, so that way we can continue with week 10. Week 13 is it's a bonus week. I teach you how to stay out of narcissistic relationships. I teach you how to spot them from the beginning so you won't even get started. You go on a dinner date with a narcissist, the first time he says anything that shows you that he's a narcissist, you can get up from that table with pride, pay your bill, and move on, and never see that person again. And you would have escaped years of traumatic abuse. I teach you how to do that and do it with stride. Hey, thank you.